I still can't believe this actually happened to us. One minute we were boarding a flight to see my dying father-in-law. The next, security was pulling us aside because some random woman at the gate claimed my wife's tiny insulin cooler was a suspicious device. My wife is a type 1 diabetic. She's had that exact same cooler for years and never had a problem. But this lady, decked out in a bright pink blazer and a massive indoor sun hat, literally pointed at us and told the TSA agent it looked like a bomb. My wife went pale. I felt my blood boil instantly. How does someone even think they have the right to do that? We had just landed in Phoenix for a connecting flight. My father-in-law had taken a bad turn. We were racing to get to him before it was too late. My wife was already shaking from low blood sugar and stress, clutching that little gray cooler like it was a lifeline, because it literally is. She needs her insulin kept cold 24/7. We've flown with it hundreds of times. Always declare it, always sail through. But this woman, let's call her Gate Karen for now, had been staring at us from the moment we sat down. I caught her whispering to the people next to her, pointing, even taking photos with her phone like we were criminals. When the gate agent called our boarding group, Karen stood up first, blocked the line, and waved over a TSA supervisor like she owned the airport. She announced loud enough for everyone at the gate to hear, "I'm very concerned about that device they're carrying. It's beeping and flashing red. In today's climate, we can't be too careful. My wife's cooler doesn't beep. It doesn't flash. It's a $40 medical cooling case with a tiny temperature display that sometimes glows blue. That's it." But 20 passengers immediately stepped back, like we were radioactive. The supervisor asked us to step aside. My wife started crying silently, trying to explain she's diabetic, pulling out her medical paperwork with trembling hands. I tried to stay calm, but my voice was shaking with rage. People were filming us on their phones. Karen stood there with her arms crossed, smirking like she'd just saved the plane. That's when everything flipped. I had no idea what was coming, but the way his eyes narrowed at her told me this wasn't going the way she expected. The TSA supervisor didn't even look at Karen at first. He turned to my wife, voice soft. "Ma'am, how low are you right now?" She whispered, 61, through tears, and I swear the entire checkpoint froze. He snapped his fingers. Someone ran over with orange juice and a glucose tab, and they let her sit and treat while they finished the paperwork. Karen's smirk started slipping. Then the supervisor finally faced her. "Ma'am, you stated this device was beeping and flashing red. Can you show me where?" Karen pointed at the tiny blue temperature screen, like it was proof of life. The officer held up the cooler for the entire gate to see. "This is an FDA-approved medical cooling case. The light is blue. It has never beeped in its life." People started murmuring. Phones were still out, but now they were filming Karen. She doubled down, voice climbing into that high-pitched 808 whine we all know too well. "Well, I'm on the neighborhood safety committee back home, and we've had training. Unusual devices must be reported. Better safe than sorry." Someone in the crowd actually laughed out loud. The supervisor wasn't laughing. He asked for her ID. She handed it over like it was a get-out-of-jail-free card. That's when the rail bomb dropped. He typed her name into the system, frowned, typed again, then looked up with the coldest smile I have ever seen. "Ma'am, are you aware that filing a false report with TSA is a federal offense?" Karen went the color of printer paper. The gate agent announced final boarding. Everyone else got on the plane, except us and her. They pulled us into a private room, but not for the reason we thought. The supervisor closed the door and said, "I'm sorry you had to go through that. We're issuing you both permanent known traveler numbers with medical PreCheck privileges, effective immediately. You'll never have to take that cooler out again anywhere in the country." My wife started crying all over again, but the good kind this time. Meanwhile, out in the hallway, Karen was having a full meltdown. We could hear her. Her screaming could be heard through the wall, yelling that she was going to call her lawyer, that she knew people at Homeland Security, that her husband golfed with someone important. 2 officers explained calmly that she was being fined $4,200 on the spot and banned from that airline for 6 months. She tried to storm off, but they stopped her. She still had to pay before leaving the secure area. Then the cherry on top, one of the officers recognized her. Apparently, she'd pulled the exact same stunt 3 months earlier in Dallas. Reported a veteran's prosthetic leg as a suspicious metal device. Same pink blazer, same sun hat. That time, they let her go with a warning. Not today. We boarded 10 minutes late. The entire plane clapped as we walked on. Karen wasn't on the flight. Last we saw, she was sitting on a bench, hat in her lap, arguing with a credit card machine, while a TSA agent hovered over her shoulder, making sure she paid every cent. We thought that was the end of it. We were wrong. 3 days later, back home, we discovered why she had targeted us in the first place, and it was so much worse than a random power trip. We returned from the hospital after my father-in-law passed. It had been the worst week of our lives. But at least the flight back was smooth, no lines, no questions, just walking straight through with our new medical PreCheck. I kept refreshing my email, expecting condolences. Instead, one subject line jumped out: urgent violation notice and hearing scheduled. Attached was a 12-page PDF. Someone had filed an anonymous complaint claiming that our front yard memorial flowers for my father-in-law, 3 small potted plants we placed the day we got home, were unauthorized landscaping and a health hazard. The hearing was set for the following week, and the complainant demanded we remove the flowers immediately or face $150 daily fines. Then I saw the photos. Clear shots of our porch taken from across the street, zoomed in on the Insulin cooler we'd left on the entry table while unpacking. The same gray cooler, same exact angle you'd see from the house directly opposite ours. We drove over that night. Pink flamingo in the yard, American flag bigger than the garage. And there it was, the bright pink blazer hanging on a porch chair next to a massive sun hat. Gate Karen wasn't some random lunatic at the airport. She was our direct neighbor, Karen Kowalski, HOA vice president and self-appointed block warden. She'd recognize us at the gate in Phoenix because she literally watches our house through binoculars every single day. The woman who tried to confiscate my wife's life-saving medication mid-flight was the same person who had been sending us passive-aggressive letters about our trash can placement for 2 years. But here's the nuclear twist. When we showed up at the HOA hearing with the TSA paperwork, the fine receipt with her name on it, body cam footage, and printed screenshot of her bragging on the neighborhood Facebook group about keeping our street safe from suspicious activity, the HOA didn't even let her speak. They voted 6-0 to remove her from the board permanently, strip her voting rights for 5 years, and force her to pay every single penny of our legal fees, plus the $4,200 TSA fine she still owed, since the HOA's insurance doesn't cover intentional, malicious acts. Karen sat there, mouth opening and closing like a fish, while the president read the motion out loud. Then my wife, sweet, quiet, still grieving, stood up and said words that will live in my head forever. Karen, you tried to take my medicine while I was flying to watch my father die. I hope the next time you need help, someone remembers how fast you were to call the authorities instead of just knocking on a door and asking if everything was okay. The room went dead silent. Karen started crying, real ugly crying, not the fake stuff. She tried to apologize. Nobody clapped. Nobody comforted her. They adjourned the meeting and left her sitting alone under the fluorescent lights. Last week, a for sale sign went up in her yard. Rumor has it her husband made her list the house the second he found out she cost him almost $12,000 and national humiliation on top of it. The new neighbors moved in yesterday, a young couple, pride flag in a window, and a little free library shaped like the TARDIS. We still keep 3 potted plants on the porch. Nobody says a word. And every time we fly now, we breeze through security. Hand the TSA agent our permanent medical cards, smile, and wave. Some justice tastes like revenge. Some just tastes like peace. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button. Every single subscription motivates me to bring you even more dramatic and satisfying HOA stories. Don't forget to tap the bell icon so you never miss a new upload. I'll see you in the next story, where justice gets even sweeter.